Coming up, we are going to talk about some clever items you should pack for your next Disney vacation. Coming up next, from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Diz Unplugged. This is the Diz Unplugged, episode number 778 for the week of February 17th, 2015. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Well, let me just say that was the perfect intro for this show. Well, hello, everyone. Again, we are live from the Bob Varley Studio here in Orlando, Florida. I am your host, Dustin West, joined at the table this week by my good friends Kathy Whirling, Rhino Claven, Jenny Lynn Knopp, Teresa Eccles,
Eccles, yeah.
And Gregory Williams, back on the controls, our associate producer. Welcome, Craig.
Oh, thanks.
Yes.
Welcome,
good to have
Craig.
you. Good to have you.
Good to see
So,
you.
as mentioned before, we are going to talk about some clever, unique, useful items that you could bring on your Walt Disney World vacation. About a month ago, we put a post out there on Facebook asking people to reply what are some unique items that you typically bring to Disney World that you feel like are different from what maybe the normal person might bring and how useful they might be.
Calling us abnormal?
Yes, you're abnormal.
Thank you.
So yeah, oh, and by the way, happy Fat Tuesday. Happy Mardi Gras Day.
Wait,
You said that
what?
after talking to me? What's that about?
Yeah. Oh, hey, don't read anything into it.
Okay.
I just remembered that I had to say that.
I'm just wondering where the British accent came in there at the end whenever you said
Because
Tuesday.
every time I say Tuesday, I feel like I should say Tuesday.
Okay.
I don't know why. That was mentioned right before the show, so I figured I'd get that in there.
Don't do that again, though.
So I asked you guys to come with any ideas you might have, and I figured we'd talk about some of those before we get into what the folks on Facebook had. So let's see how unique Teresa is.
Do we need to explain why I'm bringing them? Or just...
That would be helpful.
I mean,
the whole purpose of this is
Wigs.
for
Period.
people who are traveling on their vacation and who, have either been to Disney World a million times or for the first time they're going. We want to give some new ideas for what to pack and what's useful for your Disney
Okay, well,
World.
some of the things are, I would say no-brainers, but if you've never traveled a lot, maybe you wouldn't know, like
That's okay.
baggies. I always bring different size baggies for whatever reason.
Like plastic Ziploc
Plastic
baggies?
Ziploc bags.
I put my cell phone in those when it rains down
I do.
here.
It's a good way to collect all the toiletries from the resort and get them home safely.
Oh,
And if
you-
you're flying, you can usually steal them from TSA. Some airports will
True,
leave them out on the
true.
table. So it's there for anyone, but
Okay, I was going to say I don't really encourage stealing from the TSA.
That's a good way to get put
As
on
long
the
as
watch
they're out
list.
for public use, then that's okay.
Grab a handful. Golly. Okay, duct tape.
Duct tape?
Oh, you took mine.
Okay,
No, you
let's
gotta
debate
come-
the usefulness of duct tape.
Oh, we should
In
talk
the-
about this earlier. What do you use it for?
my victims.
I was thinking like if something happened to your suitcase on the way down, the zipper breaks, you can duct tape it up. I wasn't thinking anything sinister.
Good answer.
She's not Dexter sitting over there.
No, I don't know. I just usually don't leave home without duct tape.
You just, it's such a weird thing that you included, but for no reason. You're like, just for safety.
Just for safety reasons, I
Mary
have my duct tape,
Poppins.
and not like a big old. It's there's smaller traveling.
Yeah,
Is yours
there's-
Oh,
multicolored?
Yes, usually it's whatever I take out of Stella's room.
I just imagined you leaving with like the thick roll of
No, it's just a
standard
little
gray.
bit.
Yeah,
It's a
they
little bit.
actually have travel size
Really?
Travel size duct tape.
duct
yeah.
tape. Because when I took my first cruise on the Diz, somebody had mentioned bringing duct tape, and I think I got it at Target. But in their little bins where the travel stuff was,
Oh.
they had duct tape, and it's like, well, people said to bring it, so I brought it.
Gotta have it.
That's
Okay,
kinda cool.
a power strip.
You're just naming off all the things that are in our
No,
Facebook thing.
no. This is something I always take.
Okay.
Not a big giant one. I usually take a little one. Sometimes it's just a little thing to plug in the wall with the extra little outlets on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, before you move on from that, that is one that
one of
has shown up. One of the things I've traveled with, I know Pete travels with it, and Craig does as well sometimes is not only the power strips, if you're in a hotel room or a cruise room, you need more outlets, but the charging bricks that you can get for your phones, whether it be, first of all, you could get like a Mophie.
Are you
There
drinking
other-
something chocolate?
Yes, I am. It's chocolate.
Smells really
'Cause I
good.
can
Chocolate
smell
donut
it.
coffee.
Thank you for asking.
The,
Go ahead.
Mophie and other companies make charging cases for your phone that actually charge your phone while you use it. But there's also these independent little bricks that run a cable up to your phone, and you can charge as you go. So if you're out in the parks and you're running out of battery power but can't
Right.
find an outlet, and we'll have some links to our favorite brands on the show notes page. But there's a whole bunch of different kinds.
I have instead of taking the surge strip, that's got the power cord, it looks like a little brick and it's got 3 outlets that you can plug into and 2 USB ports. So if you're in a hotel room and you need extra outlets to plug things in
Yeah.
and USB ports, and again, with the cruise line, they won't let you take the ones with the cord.
Oh, they won't?
No.
Okay.
They've been taking those out of people's suitcases.
Wow.
But you can use that one or any USB thing that you can plug like into your laptop.
Do you know if a cruise line will let you, you can get power strips that actually mount onto the outlet itself. They're kind of flat and they have multiple plugs, but some also have USB ports in them. I
I
wonder
have
if
one at work,
cruise
I love
line
those.
will let you
I-
do that.
Took one on the last cruise and
okay.
nothing happened.
So until
Come on,
notified otherwise,
Duct
give it a
tapes,
shot.
rolls of duct tapes, power strips. They just thought you were on that villain cruise, right? Like that.
Okay, the next thing I usually always take, and it's kind of bizarre, is a small pair of binoculars.
What? Why?
See what everybody else is up to.
She
in the
wants
other
to
room.
spot the animals in
I
the
can tell
safari.
you, this one's unique. It's not on the Facebook stuff. I'm pretty sure.
Well, if you want to see something that's farther away than your eyes will carry.
Now, are you saying like binoculars or opera glasses?
That's what
There's
The little stick.
no binoculars.
Okay.
Like little travel binoculars.
And when do you find yourself using binoculars? At shows, like live shows,
Oh, that would be a good reason, but that would
to spy on people?
no. Like when I'm to spy on people. Okay, my husband's all into nature and stuff, so he'll always say, "Look at that on that tree," or "Look at that," or something, and I have no clue that I can't see it. So I break out my little binoculars and you can see into the next cruise ship if you're parked in the. Okay, that's bizarre. Okay, other than that, batteries. I always bring extra earbuds because every trip, and it's no lie, especially these Diz meets that we go to, every trip I go on, something happens to my earbuds, and the plane ride back, I have nothing. So I always bring extra now.
You know
Okay.
what else you also bring for those people that are with you? I received the gift of earplugs when I was rooming with Teresa.
Can I say the word here, the B word? Kathy's learned to adapt. But the oddest thing that I think I bring is I bring a fork, a real fork,
Like a metal fork.
like a metal fork.
Why?
So let me ask you this: if you were traveling from, let's say, Nebraska on a plane to Florida, you would.
The TSA doesn't flag you down for the fork in your purse? As
Well,
a
I usually
weapon
put
or
it in my.
something? Oh, carry on.
It's not.
it's
it's not like I'm gonna.
checked
It's
bag.
not like a meat fork. It's just a,
no.
And what do you
Is that
use the
Trident?
fork for?
I don't like using. It's just the little plastic silverware at quick service.
I hope, no, I don't know what I want. I just wish I didn't know you and I could, not in a mean way, but in a way where I could be sitting in somewhere in a park, watch you sit down at a table, reach into your purse, and pull out this metal fork and just be like, I'm going to eat this meal
And then
now."
something be caught in her peripheral vision, and then she pulls out the
Yeah, and then
binoculars.
I just imagine you metal fork and
You need the fork that expands.
Oh, we have one.
Okay.
Well, I don't use that one. That one's crisis. but-
Expanding forks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you not
Yeah.
seen it?
No.
It expands like 2 feet, so you can eat off his plate
Yeah.
over there.
Oh,
for
I'll
the,
take that.
Fort Wilderness, for outdoor movies. That's what I always use
That's
those
so very
for.
Dr. Seuss of you.
Wow,
Anyway, that's my oddest thing I get. It's not an odd thing, but maybe it's odd to take on a trip. Right?
that is odd. But
because those little
interesting.
plastic sporks and all those
They
things
break.
and you can't really cut anything with them, and so I don't take a knife. I just take a real fork.
Okay.
Doubles as security in the parking lot later, too.
How about you, Kathy? Anything else on your list?
I put down clothespins
Okay.
Because just about every resort room has, the clothesline you can put out if you want to, wash something out and hang it up. You've got clothespins.
Okay.
My other tip is baby powder. For if you're like at Typhoon Lagoon or whatever, baby powder helps get the sand off your feet.
Oh, really?
I always pack that when we go to Castaway Key.
Gets the sand off your
Chafing.
feet.
I was going to say
I
Gold
was
Bond
like-
medicated powder is wonderful for that purpose.
Yeah.
Yes, you just, if you've walked in the water and you get out and you're coming back up, you haven't had time to wash your feet
Huh.
off, you just put the baby powder on and it
Just
gets
kinda
all the
slides
sand.
right off?
Yep,
I'm going to tell you
it
right now,
does.
that is going to make it into my travel bag. Because
Yeah.
one of my biggest pet peeves about going to a beach or anywhere like that is like
Sand.
you can never get the sand off your feet.
Baby
and
powder.
it's everywhere.
And then it's in your bag
Yeah.
for all time.
your chips,
Your
in your
car,
sandwich,
it's everywhere.
Yeah. It's just the worst.
Don't you hate
Baby
crunching on a
powder.
piece of sand?
Oh, you're like Cape Cod potato chip. Real sandy in this recipe. Anyway.
So, and then just normal things. I put down a rain poncho. Just, and my 2 cents worth is leave the dollar store ones in the dollar store and buy the Disney one. Because unless you want to chuck your poncho at the end of the day, the Disney ponchos last a
They're much more
really
heavy
long-
duty,
Yeah.
heavy gauge versus the paper thin, basically trash bag that you're putting.
And no matter what rain poncho you put on, you're going to get wet
Yeah.
anyway. But the Disney ones last, and I've washed them, and they come out of the dryer, and you fold them up, and they get really, nice
Really?
and small.
Put
And
it in
you
the
can,
dryer. Oh.
yeah.
Speaking of trash bags, I have seen people at the parks pack trash bags and cut a hole out of them and wear it as a poncho.
Yes.
That is,
People
and if-
also use them to cover their strollers
yeah.
Well, that, I can understand.
because the strollers
I
get
that.
really
Yeah.
wet in the
Yeah.
rain.
Katie got an award one time, or a, attaboy, or what's the Disney thing that you get?
Yeah.
For using the big, people would come in to the different stores, and, the big Disney bags.
Yeah.
In a pinch, you can use that, too, to
Yeah.
wear as a rain poncho.
Oh.
What?
And
You
why
know,
did she
Like
get
a
an
bag
award
that
for
you
that?
buy?
Because she did that for some
Oh,
guests.
okay.
Oh,
Like a magic, almost a little
like a
magical
shopping
moment.
bag.
Yeah, like the biggest Disney bags that they have.
It's
So
a
you can
guest
be styling
service
it.
something. I
Yeah.
can't remember
Yeah.
what it's called.
I always call it.
She got recognized
Yes.
for being
Yeah.
ingenious.
For cutting some holes in a shopping bag.
That's cool.
She was going
Something-
above and beyond.
Cool.
I was going to say something that I would do when I was vacationing with my kids and they were younger. This isn't odd, I don't think, but
We'll judge. Go ahead.
okay. You know how you can go to, I think it's Home Depot, and Disney has a line of paint, and the paint swatches come in the shape of a Mickey head.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I used to get those before our vacations, and on that paint swatch, I would write identification information for my kids, and so it would have their name, parents' names, and our cell phone number, and the resort we were staying at, and then I would have them put it inside their shoe, so that when we were at the parks, if my kids ever, wandered or got lost, they would know ahead of time. Okay, that's when you get the Mickey out of your shoe.
Take your shoe off.
Yeah,
Yeah, putting
get
it
the
in the
Mickey
shoe
out
is
of
a
your
great
shoe
tip.
and you give it to the cast members so that they know how to find mommy and daddy.
That is cool.
Yeah, and then
But
it's
they've done away with the Mickey heads at Home Depot.
Yeah,
all
they're
right.
just the
Well, so
regular-
everybody can
Wow.
just make their own Mickey heads now.
Yeah.
And put it in the shoe.
Just a piece of paper.
Yeah, and it doesn't bother them throughout the day, and then they don't lose it. It's not something that you need to worry about, like a bracelet slipping off
Sharpie
or
on
something
their
like
body
that.
somewhere.
Yeah, I guess you could
I,
tattoo
well,
them,
I'm
but
tattoos, yeah.
Yeah.
Your cell phone number will never change, right?
and then it's also not uncommon for me to have safety pins with me.
Oh,
I
yeah,
oft-
that's on my list.
I
always.
often have them like hanging on my belt loop awkwardly.
I have a
but
story
I
about why
love safety
those
pins.
are really important in the Florida humidity as well. I was wearing a pair of jeans that were a little bit loose. I was mini golfing, of all things to do, and I went to go take a picture, and I ripped, but because it was like so humid and my jeans were like sticking in my leg or something, like it ripped my pants. There was no saving it. I was in my underwear, and it was in my life I was like, I've never wanted a safety pin more than I do at this one moment while I'm just here in my boxer briefs at the Disney Winter Wonderland.
See, if
whatever
you had
that-
been
Of
JL,
course
then
not.
you would have been prepared.
And that's what you had, Kathy? Or did you have anything
No,
else?
I was just going to say, we do have a page, as I was doing my research, we do have a page up on the WDW info
Okay.
with a whole list of different things to bring. gum because it's not sold on Disney
Yeah,
property.
that's true.
Purse-size Kleenex, quarters for either the tolls on 417 as you come through, or at the laundry facilities. People put them in those little M&M tubes. Quarters fit in there quite nicely. So there's a whole list of, I don't know, when you said unique, I was thrown by that.
Okay.
Because I'm now like, okay, like what's unique? This to me is just sort of like a mom being prepared.
Right. Well, and that's why I wanted to get to what we.
I've got some.
All right. Well, hold on just a second, Craig.
Okay.
That's why I wanted to, after Craig, get to these things
quiet back
because
there.
these I think that we have on Facebook are a little more unique and clever.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
the ones I
than
want to hear.
just being prepared. So, Craig, what do you got?
I've got 3, technically 4. My first one, and I mentioned it before we started this, toilet paper. I am a person who does not appreciate the quality of toilet paper that Disney decides to give you. So some of the deluxes you can get nicer, but at the low end, it's bad.
And how do you
It's like
how do you
seafood.
pack this for your days in the park, Craig? You just
It-
fold
this
4 squares
wasn't-
and put it in your
This
pocket?
wasn't that you had to go into the park. This was
Oh.
just things you would pack for your
Takes out the
vacation.
cardboard tube,
First off, you
flattens it out.
you don't do that in parks. You don't do
Yeah, I
that in
just
parks.
think
You
of
go
that
back
too.
to your hotel in privacy.
Okay,
So-
okay. We need it in the parks, though.
Okay, that's nice. This is about what I would bring.
Okay.
not what you would bring.
That's your
So-
lady problem.
Number 2 for me, a corkscrew. Sometime you never know where you'll find yourself, or if you end up getting a bottle of wine that you bring back to the room, whatever. It'd be nice to have a corkscrew if it doesn't have a twist-off cap on that. And then on the other spectrum of that, also a beer bottle opener. Especially because you never know what kind of beer you'll find if you find one that doesn't have a twist off. If you order some from a store, if you walk somewhere in distance that has it, I've seen people cut their hands open because they were trying to open bottles on counters and stuff like that. So it's safer to just have that nice opener to get it off. And then rubber bands, gum bands.
Gum
Can't go wrong
bands?
with those.
Yeah.
Never heard that word before.
That's
Elastic
called
bands.
elastics.
Oh, really? I never
What?
heard that one.
Like,
Okay. Okay, moving on from elastic bands.
It's just random.
Yeah. Okay, so here are the ones that came up the most frequent on our Facebook call out. And we'll just shout out to some of the folks that left some replies here. Randy, and all these names, if I get them wrong, I'm sorry. We're going to try our best here. Randy Navarrete said 6 outlet power strips. It helps with your central charge location in hotels for cell phones and tablets. And again, I recommend the ones, and Pete also recommends the ones that has the USB outlets in them. So
I
power
didn't know
strips
they
and
made those
USB charging
Yeah.
things is very popular in this list of what people bring. Samantha Lynn Howell says this might not be that weird, but I pack several garbage bags and sort my dirty clothes as I wear them. White ones in one, delicates in another, etc., so that I can just dump the bags in the washer when I get home. So I know what I always did traveling was I would empty my clothes into the dresser drawers of a hotel room and then just throw the dirty clothes into the
Yeah,
suitcase.
that's what I
Right. Yeah.
But this seems like a lot more organized. And trash bags, you fold them up. They take up no space
Yeah,
in
that's
your
a good idea.
suitcase. So extra bags and trash bags came up quite a bit. Christine De Laurentiis says gallon Ziploc bags. We were talking about Ziploc bags earlier. These are great to carry in the parks for wet ponchos, clothes, leftover snacks, etc. We pack complete outfits for the kids in them for the entire trip. They're also perfect for keeping toiletries contained.
It's a good idea for the. I had never thought of putting a poncho in one of the bigger ones.
Yeah, so after you use
After
a
they get
poncho and it's
wet,
wet and
yeah.
you don't want to get the rest of your bag wet, you can throw that in there. She talked about putting entire outfits for her children in there. And that's a neat idea, a good way to organize and probably contain that. Another thing that I have found that I like to use are packing cubes. They're like these little zipper bags. They're mesh and nylon bags that you can pack. They come in different sizes in your suitcase. So I put all my T-shirts in one,
Okay.
all my socks in one, and so on.
Where do you get those?
And you can order them online. I'll see if I can get a link in there. Oh yeah, I have a link here. I can put that in the show notes page to the brand that I like. And it just, you know how there's a million different methods for packing,
Yeah.
the rolling method, the folding method. There's a million different ways to
To
pack.
just throw it in the suitcase method.
Yeah, I like to do the
Cube
the
method.
cubes, the packing cubes, because at the end of the day, again, they also act like dirty laundry bags. You can throw them in there as well. Bill Mann says sandwich bags, use them for phones and other electronics when going on Splash Mountain or Cali River Rapids, that kind of stuff.
Florida summertime, you know the rain here. I just always, whenever I leave the house, I put the sandwich size one in my back pocket, and just when you start hearing the thunder, the wallet and thing go in it, zip it on up.
And of course, if you find yourself without any kind of plastic bags, you can go to any Disney merchandise location and they will give you free shopping bags. In fact, now they've started creating clear bags that are specifically for this purpose. They're the rain bags. So like I always have a camera and a cell phone and a wallet everywhere I go on Disney property. If I see those rain clouds rolling in, I go in, just grab. And they're big bags. I mean, they're big, and you can throw everything you own, and I just roll it up, and tie a knot, and throw it over my shoulder, and I'm good to go. like a traveling
Sawyer.
I was thinking, tied up, ears hanging low.
On the road again.
That's what I was thinking.
I thought of that too.
It's like the ending of the episodes of the Incredible Hulk. Michelle Buchecker agrees with Craig. A roll of Charmin for the room and travel size Charmin, which they make for my purse in the parks. She really dislikes Disney toilet paper. So for these more popular ones that seem to come up a lot, I think we kind of agreed. We had touched on those. Those are really good items to have and useful items that maybe you wouldn't think to bring. So here's some of the more clever, unique ones that
Okay, that's the ones I want to
that
hear.
aren't as popular, but I think these guys had some good ideas. Jenny Moore Hodges says a plastic hanging shoe organizer. We use it to store things like bandages, toiletries, snacks. Ours has clear pockets, so everything is easy to find. It helps keep the room neat and tidy, no mess on the countertops. I know a lot of people like to use them as toiletry hangers on the back of their bathroom doors, but you can put anything in them to
Yeah.
organize anything, and it gets that clutter off of the surfaces and off the floor. Diane Zabriskie says scissors. Can't tell you how many times I used them on my last trip.
That was on my list, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Little ones.
What would you use scissors for? Just
Well, okay, you want to wear that shirt, cut that tag off that you just bought, you know, or
opening
Opening things,
packages like
opening
the
packages.
what is that awful packaging that like toys and
That plastic sealing wrap, the shrink wrap, the shrink wrap.
I hate that.
Well, talking about scissors too, when we were on our last cruise, my bangs were long, and there was one really long one, and I could have used a pair of scissors to cut them. Instead, I had a pair of fingernail clippers, and Katie had me out on the deck with a pair of fingernail clippers. So
yeah, I missed that.
I just roll it
Scissors.
up and yank it out. Yeah, I know. It hurts.
But no,
to pick
there's.
up.
If you don't have scissors, you need scissors.
Again,
And that's
if
the
you're
rule.
if you're traveling by plane, you should probably put those in your checked bag and not in your carry-on.
yes,
Any of-
because I got stopped. I used to carry the small plastic, the 25-cent kindergarten scissors. I can't tell you how many times I got stopped because I forgot they were in there.
Yeah. Well, those Crayola scissors with the rounded edges aren't going to do any damage to anybody. Though I tried when I was a kid. Shelly Chuba Bogush. I hope that's how you say your name. I said it with a weird thing, and I'm sorry. Anytime we travel and we know that we will be swimming, we pack a clothes drying rack. I purchased it at a local camping supply store. It folds like an umbrella and hangs from the shower rod. It holds our family of 5 suits and towels. Perfect for any hotel. So basically what this looks like, I have a picture here, is if you were to hang this on the shower curtain, it looks like a mobile, like a little baby's mobile that
Okay.
rotates around, and you can
That's
hang
clever.
things on each little
I don't have
spider
enough
that comes out.
suitcase space for this one.
Well, she said it folds up like an umbrella, so it would be just one little cylinder.
2 more T-shirts I could be wearing.
I think this is a good, this is a good idea if you have a large family,
Yeah.
because, for one person or for two people, you can just throw it over the shower rack
Right.
and it's,
Yeah.
not a big deal. But if you have a lot that you need to hang dry, especially after a day at the pool or the
Yeah.
water
Kids,
park.
Definitely.
kids jump, yeah.
You got a family of 5, 3 kids, and 2 parents, and you're
It's a lot of
just
wet
running
clothes.
out of places to put the wet clothes.
Yeah. You got the balcony, the back of a chair.
Some places don't let you put it out on the balcony.
Right.
Oh,
They
really?
won't let you hang it over the balcony.
Oh, that's sad. I always enjoyed seeing that, knowing that these families were having a fun day. That
No
looks
more.
fun.
It is no more.
That's where the binoculars are.
They left their door open. There's a breeze coming.
Well, if they're hanging their ties out there.
Yeah.
Teresa's like-
I got to throw it out there. I think I can speak for at least for myself that I'm a little crazy today. We've been going nuts with all the 7 and 7 stuff that's been going on. So if this is a weird little kooky mood that we're all in, mustering our energy for this. So, but I think it's fun, and I love Teresa's binoculars. Mindy Beeman says Charmin and flushable wipes for the resort, wet wipes for the parks. We wipe the kids' arms and faces and ours down before meals and before parades. Just cools you off and makes you feel a little more human.
Okay.
In
So-
that vein, those little tubes of antibacterial gel
Yeah.
would be really a great thing to have, especially now with all of the interactive cues and the things that everyone's always touching, just to, after it's all done, clean your hands.
Yeah, and Disney has them scattered around the parks. You can always ask a
Sometimes.
cast member if you
Sometimes
need one,
not.
but it's best to carry your own. What are you laughing
I'm
at?
sorry. Whenever you said the kids, theirs, mine, and ours, I thought you said ours. And,
We're not going back to the British stuff. Okay?
and
Right out there before dinner, we wash that up. Yeah. Okay.
So it's good to have those wipes to stay clean if you don't want to wait in the lines for the bathrooms and stuff like that. Catherine Marshall says a Swiss Army knife. You have scissors or knife to get toys out of packaging, screwdriver to batteries. You can use a screwdriver to get to batteries in the toys, and a corkscrew to open wine. So a multi-tool.
Yeah.
Again, traveling by plane, you probably don't want that on your person because it does have
Yeah.
a knife blade.
But
Or
then
in
the
your
checked
pocket
bag.
when you
Yeah.
get up to bag check.
Is there any rules against going into the parks with a Swiss Army knife?
I usually carry it could almost be considered a dangerous tool just because it's on a bigger level. And
Switches
it's-
out real quick.
It's not a switchblade. It is not a switchblade. It's a utility tool, but it does have about a 3-inch knife on it, so it could be considered dangerous. But usually, if you have justification of why you have it with you, security won't mind. So I bring mine whenever I'm coming to film something. I have my tripod, and I've got the screws on it that I need to take care of it. If I have it all there and say, yeah, it's for that, then they're not going to give you any hassle. But if you are walking through, you don't have anything on you, you just got that might get you stopped. If it's in a bag, if it's in your pocket, they can't. They can, but they probably won't strip search you for it.
Here's the deal, and I don't want to get into a debate of whether or not people should be bringing this kind of stuff into the park. I will say if you bring it with you to the Disney parks, be okay in getting it taken away from
Yeah.
you. Be prepared that it could be taken away from you if they spot it. And,
That's why I don't take the good silver. You just take it. You buy cheap forks. I have a cheap set of forks.
Don't take the good
Yeah, key is-
silver. That's the quote of the day right there. Don't take the good silver.
Just a cheap stain.
The cheap binoculars. Yeah.
So speaking of Gold Bond medicated powder, Maureen Colson Stickney says an anti-chafing stick. It saved the day many times.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what?
I didn't know there was a
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard of that.
applicable stick.
When I ran the half
gosh,
marathon,
that's
we
a-
have to coat ourselves in it.
Say that again,
When I
Ryan.
did the half marathon, it's called Body Glide, and it's like a
Yeah.
deodorant, and this is my thigh, and then you rub it, and so it keeps everything from
Chafing.
getting around. Yeah.
To quote the famous comedian Mark Lowry, her thighs were screaming, "Excuse me, pardon me," to each other as she walked down the airplane aisle because of her chafing.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
actually a Christian comedian that we used to watch as kids. He's really funny. Check him out. Robin English Spina, air freshener. It's a small space. Pete put a note in here saying that he likes Yankee Candle room sprays. If they're really small and compact, You should probably put them. I don't know what the exact ounce amount is,
The
so you
little
might
ones are- yeah.
you might have to put them in your checked bag. But those things, it's so much better than like Febreze, Oust, Lysol. It immediately. Another one, and we just used it before the show, is the Citrus Magic stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff fills the room, and it smells like Soren if you get
Yep,
the
it
orange
does.
flavored one. Don't drink it. This is a weird show, man.
You need a nap.
I do. Valerie Shield Tessitore says everyone gets a snack-sized baggie for their phones in case of wet rides. We talked about
Okay.
that. But also buy Walmart ponchos in the same colors. Easy to find, each other in the rain, or again for use on wet rides. And you can buy a family's amount for just a fraction of the WDW prices. I know Kathy will disagree with me
Yes,
on that
I
one.
will.
Because she just mentioned...
I still have some of the yellow Mickey ponchos from back in the day. Mm-hmm. I more than got my money's worth out of those ponchos.
Well, I guess it just comes down to whatever style you want to
Yeah,
go with.
right.
If you just want to have a bunch that are disposable and you're more inclined to use the disposable ones, go for that. But the Disney ones you shouldn't be throwing away because they're heavier
Right.
gauge and they will last a while.
Some people will want to throw them away. Some people don't want to carry around a poncho after it's been used.
Yeah. Andy Sanders says, I like to get cheap sponges. This one was interesting. Listen to this. I like to get cheap sponges at the grocery store and cut them into little squares. I wet them and put soap on them and let them dry overnight. So they're dry now, but they have the soap in them. The next morning, they are ready to be packed in a Ziploc bag. They are soapy and ready to be used to wash out your reusable cups and bottles in the hotel sink or your reusable mug, in that washing station.
That is
it's
so
Just a tiny little sponge that already has soap in it, and you can
He
use
gets
it.
the award. Wow.
Andy Sanders. I'm not sure if that's a man or a lady.
Oh,
But
it's
It's a colonel,
spelled
that's for sure.
I really like that
Could be
idea
Andrew.
because, especially with the reusable mugs, on the first use, they always
Yeah.
feel like they're
It's a
fresh out of the
weird, like-
factory.
Yeah.
Dust from like China or wherever they came from. That's what I always can taste. I can taste the travels.
Personally, I think this is an awesome idea to have a dried out dish soap filled sponge. That's great.
I mean, I'm not an inventor, but whatever you apply for, a patent or whatever, they need to figure that out and start getting
Yeah.
rich
Yeah.
off of it. Because I would buy a giant bag of those little ones instead of doing it myself.
Yeah.
Yep.
Instant sponge. Oh my
I'm
God.
stopping on the way home.
She's buying sponges and soap and baggies.
And I'm going to sell them to all of you.
I don't want you to see
Yeah.
Oh,
You don't want me to
The police are going to pull you over, man.
Right
What are
now.
you selling in these plastic bags?
sponges.
Our next one is Linda Fontaine Foster. Says essential oils, great for mood, keeping germs away. Never know who is sick in the line next to you, and who will get motion sick from a ride or just get a headache.
I've heard of that one.
I've
before.
never used essential oils. Does anybody know anything about essential oils? Is it like an herbal?
My mother has told me that she saw on some show that the lemon one helps with like cold sores or something. So I have heard about them used in like for whatever, keeping germs away, that kind
Right.
of stuff before.
There's
But I don't
different
think
oils
it's-
to serve different purposes.
It sounds like that stuff you put like in a candle though. You light the little votive and like you put your essential
Yeah.
oil and then your house smells like
Yeah.
laundry.
Sometimes
clean
you can
laundry.
put the drops of it in your bath water. Your skin absorbs it, and
For aching muscles.
yeah, there's all
Yeah,
different
there's all
kinds
kind
of
of different-
uses for them, and they usually make your room smell really good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I like this next one. Rachel Pope Lambkin says, she said a small hanging organizer, but she also says a mesh pop-up hamper, a clothes hamper. And they go all the way down flat. They look like a big circle, and then they expand out. You can put all your dirty clothes in
And
there.
then you can never figure out how to fold them back up again.
Yeah, exactly. That's the hard part. She says the four of them stayed at All-Star Sports for over a week, and these two items kept the small space organized and tidy. That's a good thing to think about, especially if you're staying at one of the smaller hotel rooms or maybe off property at a regular size hotel room. How to keep yourself organized in
I
that
was even
space.
thinking about if you do like the cabins at Fort Wilderness, you could have the hamper, and then they have the laundry on site there, and you can just
Oh,
grab
yeah.
the hamper and walk it over.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love. First of all, I already love like home organization stuff to begin with, but when
Do
I
you?
s- yeah, oh, I'm
Wow, I didn't
building
see that.
shelves and doing all that stuff. I love doing that kind of stuff. So now hearing these ideas about how to get your hotel room organized, you know, how to hang up your wet clothes, how to store your dirty clothes, I would love to hear more about this stuff and figure out like the perfect hotel like transformer organization thing. And then finally, Susan Gray says, I use the travel space bags for my clothes. All that extra air taken out makes so much more room in the suitcase. I also bring a roll of packing tape and a cardboard box that, when broken down, fits in my suitcase. I send 95% of my souvenirs home via UPS ground. So much easier than trying to stuff into my luggage, and I avoid the overweight baggage fee. So there's
Okay,
a couple things
I
in
tried
there.
that space bag thing one time, but I packed more. So I had dozens of these little bricks of clothing in my bag, and I still.
So these are the ones that they vacuum seal and they take all the air out.
But if you go to a park, how do you going home once you've unvacuum sealed it? You're in trouble because now you've packed your suitcase to accommodate vacuum seal bags, and you pop
That's where
those
the
all
cardboard
open.
box
You don't have
comes
a
in handy.
yeah, right.
That's where housekeeping comes
Yeah.
in. Can I
That's when you
please
buy-
borrow your vacuum?
You know, along those lines too, I would say, first of all, buy a suitcase that weighs lighter so that you can like put more stuff in. Because if you've got a heavy suitcase to start
That's
with,
smart.
you can't put as much in.
And some of them now are very light.
Yes, mine
compared to
is
the
very
old
light.
ones. Yeah.
But, and also when you're packing, put some of, you know, like your kids' stuff in your suitcase and the parents' stuff in the kids' suitcase. So if something gets lost, you haven't lost everything.
That's a really good.
I've
When-
always done that. Yeah.
When I went to Europe this past year, when we did our ABD trip to Italy, knowing that I'd probably be getting a lot of souvenirs, what I did was kind of a Russian nesting doll suitcase
That's
thing.
another way.
I knew that my particular ticket gave me an additional free bag in the seat that I was in. So I took the big bag. I packed all my clothes and stuff going out there in the small bag, and then just put the big bag over top of it.
Is that an original idea?
I don't know. Probably not.
I've gone home before and
Yeah.
done that same thing.
So
like
put the,
knowing I would
the
need
big
to.
empty
Yeah,
bag
yeah.
around it. It usually helps if they're like.
That's
in
like
the
how I
same
store my
brand.
luggage.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
And then when you get there, now you have two suitcases. One is
Yeah.
filled with your clothes, and one is empty, ready to fit all your souvenirs.
If they're giving it for you for free, that's the. I mean.
Yeah. And so in that particular instance, I was able to get a free bag home. But you know, I don't know. Maybe buying the extra bag on the airline might be cheaper than actually shipping it in a box. But I like her idea of bringing the box, bringing the tape, and doing it that way. I mean, that way you don't have to buy the box at UPS, which will be like $10. And so some good ideas. Cool. Well, I think that is going to do it for us. I don't think. Oh, wait, I do have some more. I'm sorry. I have a couple more. I thought that was the end of it. I'm sorry. There's another entry about Gold Bond medicated powder. Man.
We cannot stress how important that is for the humidity of the state of Florida.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's where Kevin said one time you can make your own gravy.
Gross. I really hate that phrase. Jamie M. Bianchetta said, on our first cruise, I brought soap and an air freshener, the same scent. And now, whenever we use it at home, it smells like vacation. So that will be a must from now on our Disney trips. We also bring toilet paper and wipes, and another hater of the Disney World toilet paper, a Ziploc baggie for phones and whatnot, gum, she mentions, and snacks, and the Brita water bottles. What these are bottles that are specifically designed by Brita, and there are other companies that make them too.
Portable water filters.
Yeah, portable water filters. They have the filter right there in the head of the bottle, and you fill it up, ready to go. You could use it at a fountain, at a sink, whatever. And the Florida water here is not that great, so it's good to.
Tastes like pool water.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I like the water here, but hey.
I'm not a big fan. Amy Beck D'Anthony says disposable coffee cups and lids for the in-room coffee maker. If you want to take your coffee to go, because all they give you is the ceramic cups. So that's a pretty cool idea. Jen Corbin Osler says, we fly, so last time I went online a few days before and ordered basic stuff from Walmart.com. 24 packs of water, at just $2.50. Juice boxes, snacks, Pop-Tarts, bagels, peanut butter, sunblock, etc. The total order was $25. It included free shipping, and we shipped it directly to the hotel.
So the hotel will accept a shipment for you?
And they'll
on
hold
your
it for you.
behalf like that?
Yeah.
Yep.
And some of them will charge you if it's a convention hotel,
Uh-huh.
but you still come out ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I mean, to keep stuff like that in your room, that's a really clever idea.
Allow plenty of time for shipping, though, because
Yeah.
it has to go through a central place on property before it goes to the
So
hotel.
do your research before you just start ordering.
Yeah,
Well,
and make sure you contact the hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's assuming that they will, even then, once they get a hold of it, they will sort it and give it to you right away. I know whenever we went out to Alani 2-3 years ago, I forgot my sunglasses. And so Kylie spent like $30 overnighting them to Hawaii, or 2 nights, I guess it would be for there, since it's so long. But then they were at the hotel for 4 days. And
Oh,
we were about
geez.
on the like second to last day we were there. Then they find, oh yeah, we've had it. We didn't notify you. So
Yeah, check in with the hotel. Keep constant contact.
Two things that I just thought of
Yeah.
that when I took my first cruise, everybody said pack a flashlight. Mm-hmm. But that also would be good for Disney World. When the hurricanes came through and stuff,
Yeah.
it's always a good idea in your room if you lost the power to have that. And then
I always have a flashlight in case of apocalypse.
But the other thing Kevin mentioned, and I went out and bought then, it's like a little thing, it's like a portable night light that you just like tap it, and then like the kids
Oh, yeah.
can take
that
it.
egg thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because kids, a lot of times, unless you want to leave the bathroom light on, if they have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, you don't want them tripping over something.
Absolutely. Good ideas. I like this. This was fun. Interesting.
This is not what I thought it was going to be, but
I'm sorry to let you down, Kathy. I
yeah,
apologize.
I'm going to have to look for those. I don't know.
You thought it was going to be something different?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's what she said.
To answer your question, yes.
These just seem like normal.
Okay,
things.
I thought they
I was
were-
thinking unique, like,
Well, if you want unique items, you could go to a site like Etsy or something. I'm sure there's, different, unique, crafty kind of stuff
I must
like
do
that.
more research.
Yeah. But these are items that you wouldn't necessarily think of traveling.
I learned a few things.
Yeah, I did too.
Me too. So thank you guys for participating. We hope you at home enjoyed watching live and listening. And we will see you next week with another episode of the Diz Unplugged. Have a good week, everybody. Goodbye.